Hi, it's Colli from Collitalks, transformative conversations. And, well, as I always say, we're going to go deep. It's been a very interesting week, I have to say. And there's nothing that surprises me anymore because I know it's all about transformation. And that's what this whole podcast is about. So today, we're going to talk about the truth about trauma bonding. So let's begin here. Trauma bonding is not love. Well, some people might go, what do you mean? Well, it's actually a survival response, a nervous system's attempt to stay connected, even when the connection is hurting you. It's that gripping, confusing, overwhelming dynamic that keeps you loyal to someone you know is harming you emotionally, physically, spiritually, or even financially. I'm not sure. Well, when I say of course, I'm not sure because I don't live inside your head. But films like Sleeping with the Enemy and The Invisible Man portray this very well. The dance of manipulation, fear, charm, isolation. But trauma bonds don't always look this extreme. And sometimes they're very subtle. They can even be spiritual, wrapped in charisma or promises of transformation. That's right. But whether they are obvious or invisible, they leave the same mark. Consider it to be self abandonment disguised as devotion. You see, systemic roots, well, according to Bert Hellinger, which I studied through him with his first generation teachers, what he has taught us is that we learn that the child will always choose belonging over authenticity. So if love in your family meant silence, caretaking, or carrying someone else's pain, then your nervous system adapted to that. That became your normal, your training in love. So when you later find yourself bonded to someone who needs saving or who chips away at your worth, your inner child recognizes the pattern. Not because it's good, but because it's familiar. And this shows up beautifully in Whale Rider, that deep systemic pull to prove your worth to those who cannot fully see or receive you. You do it not for approval alone, but for connection, for belonging, because it's familiar. So there are hidden loyalties, and those hidden loyalties are what keep you stuck. Why do we stay? I did. I stayed in two relationships. First in my marriage to my husband, and then, well, oh my goodness, many, many years later to another gentleman. I stayed with him, well, almost 11 years. And that was too many years, actually. But why did I keep looping into these relationships? Well, here's where systemic trauma added a vital piece in my life. We are often loyal to the fate of someone in our lineage unconsciously. We may repeat our mother's silence, our grandmother's invisibility, our father's rage. And these are called what Hellinger called entanglements, soul level bonds to those we love. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was where I was at with my first relationship, my husband, and bless him. And I have a beautiful child because of him. But the thing is, it was so interesting is that he was not just one, two, three, four, but he was four. Yes, he was four people. He was my mother, my father, and my godmother and my godfather who actually raised me for the first 6 years of my life. Fascinating, isn't it? So in The Lost Daughter, we witness a woman haunted by the costs of motherhood and unprocessed pain, the kind that doesn't just belong to her. It's ancestral. It's systemic. And until we see it, we live it. I did. I did. I lived it over and over until I don't any longer. And that is now. Sometimes, though, staying in trauma bonds is how we say, see, Mima, I'm still loyal to your story, even if it destroys us. And it could have, but I was the one called to bring it into the light, not just for me, but for my daughter and my granddaughter and my grandchildren. So there is a lighter lens, just as powerful. You know, even in animation, we see trauma bonding and systemic pain, right? Take Frozen, the movie. Elsa isolates herself, convinced her power is dangerous. Anna throws herself into unhealthy love to feel connected. Each sister is entangled in a family system that hasn't taught them how to hold their truth and be loved at the same time. Or Encanto, where every family member carries a piece of the system's unspoken trauma. Bruno disappears to keep the family whole. Luisa carries burdens that aren't hers. And Mirabelle, the one with no gift, becomes the truth teller, the pattern breaker. These films may seem light, but they reveal such a deeper, deeper, deeper truth. You see, we carry what is not ours for the sake of love. Is there a way out? Absolutely. Truth, not shame. So, how do we begin to break free? Well, first, we stop blaming ourselves for staying. I did. I had to stop blaming myself for staying and recognizing that this was just something that I was being loyal to and who I was being loyal to. And then it was this sense of freedom. And so once I stopped blaming myself for staying, then I could stop shaming the part of me that loved with my whole body, even when it hurt. And you can too. You see, we begin by seeing clearly. We place a hand on our heart and say, I see the original wound. I honor the one I've been loyal to, and I choose something different now. We don't need to cut the cords in anger. We can release in truth and love. Because healing trauma bonds isn't about forgetting the past. It's about actually seeing it fully and then choosing to live your own fate. So, to the one still caught in a bond, whether that's you or someone you know, that bond that feels like love but leaves you aching, you're not weak, you're loyal. And now you are free to choose you. So thank you for listening, for feeling, and for walking beside me today. This episode is a prayer, a remembrance, a release, and I only ask that you share it with someone who needs to hear this. And come find me if you need support on your path out of the spell, because that's what it is. It's a spell, and spells can be broken, as I have found out and as I have worked through. So blessings and lots of love and lots of hugs. Soul hugs, soul hugs, soul love. I just really pray that all of you are well and that you truly, truly find your bliss. Take care.